It takes courage to be the standard setter. Why do we fear addressing the person or the persons in decline? Why do we fear that? Why is it so hard? Conflict. We don't want to be uncomfortable. We hate conflict. Who else?
We become the target.
We become the target. We become the target. Who else?
Bold pushback.
Bold. With bold change comes bold resistance. Every time. Bold change invites bold resistance. Every time. If you're not getting bold resistance, it's because you're not doing bold things. Used to say it as a pastor, if the devil ain't bothering you, there's just one reason, because you ain't bothering him. I wrote 5 things down. Fear of lost production. Oh my gosh, that person does something that no one else on the team does. Oh, and it's going to be hard. I don't want to have to train someone else. Or, man, a couple of us will have to double up for a while. Have you ever seen that before? Fear of lost production. Second, fear of not being able to find a replacement. They're so hard to find. Third, fear of discomfort. Fourth, fear of losing institutional knowledge. 5, fear of negative reactions from others. Let me tell you a story. I'm in Page, Arizona, 20 years ago, working with a hospital system. If you've ever been to Page, Arizona, you'll know that Page, Arizona has about 700, 800 people. Most people don't want to live in Page, Arizona. When we went there, we discovered that the nursing sector within the hospital system was in trouble. It was toxic. Nurses did not trust each other. They didn't work together. They constantly talked about each other. They were competing with each other. It was a really bad environment, and it was affecting healthcare. And so what I found was that they had one lady in decline. She happened to be the supervisor in that sector. And everyone knew that she was the problem. And as you all said, the morale was demoralized. They were getting poor outcomes. It was a mess. And when I talked to the CEO of the hospital, her response to me was, "We live in Page, Arizona. Do you understand how long it takes to recruit someone to Page, Arizona? We cannot let them go." Guess what the rest of the team wanted to happen? Please let them go. Please show us leadership. Please show us courage. She finally made the decision. Guess what the reaction throughout the entire hospital that day was? Say it, Susan. You've seen situations like that. What were people saying? Woohoo! How do you spell woohoo? Who else? Here's the big one. It's about time. Make sense? This is what happened. We coached her to go to the team and say, look, we just made a decision that we should have made a long time ago, and I take responsibility that I was operating in fear. And you all, what I've learned is I've had to start making my principles non-negotiable again and focus on long-term health of this team instead of short-term production. And I'm willing to take a step back in order to go 3 steps forward. And the team said, we are too. And what do you think the rest of that team did? What do you think they did? They figured it out, they pulled together, and they became more productive, -1, than ever before. There is such a thing as addition by what? Subtraction. What do you do? When is it time to quit coaching up and start coaching out? We've talked about that before. 1, when the person who is in decline will not receive feedback without being defensive. If you are defensive, that's your default. You quit growing a long time ago. Being defensive is turning off at the spigot the elixir of growth, the new information that you need to turn it around. 1, if that person, their default is to be defensive, gang, game over. Number 2, you want their success more than they want their success. Number 3, they keep bringing problems, never solutions. They keep bringing problems, never solutions. And number 4, their outcomes never change. No matter how much you coach them, the outcomes never change.